5,000 years ago, while most of humanity huddled in mud huts and scratched survival from barren earth, a civilization rose in the Indus Valley that would shame cities built 4 millennia later. This is the empire that time erased. In 1922, archaeologist Rakhal Das Banerjee stood before crumbling mounds in British India. What he uncovered would rewrite human history. An ancient metropolis called Mohenjo-Daro, the mound of the dead, buried beneath Pakistani soil for 4,000 years. The scale was staggering. At its peak, the Indus Valley civilization sprawled across 1 million square kilometers, larger than ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. 5 million people lived in over 1,000 settlements, united by invisible threads of commerce and culture. While Egyptians stacked stones for pharaohs and Mesopotamians warred for kings, the Indus people built something radical: cities without palaces, without temples dominating skylines, without monuments to conquest. A civilization, it seemed, without kings at all. The great cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro shared identical street grids, identical brick sizes, identical weights and measures, separated by 600 kilometers. Somehow, across vast distances, they achieved a standardization that modern nations struggled to maintain. These weren't primitive settlements. They were planned utopias, wide boulevards running north to south, narrow lanes east to west, homes of uniform size suggesting equality unknown in the ancient world. The questions multiply. Who designed this? And how? Beneath every home in Mohenjo-Daro lay a secret that would make Roman engineers weep with envy. Private bathrooms, indoor toilets, covered drains that carried waste away from living quarters. The world wouldn't see such sanitation again until Victorian London. The Great Bath of Mohenjo-Daro, 12 meters long, 7 meters wide, waterproofed with bitumen and fed by an ingenious well system. No temple, no palace, but this public pool, suggesting rituals of purification that echo in South Asian traditions today. Every brick measured precisely 7 by 14 by 28 centimeters. Across 1,000 kilometers, across centuries, the ratio never varied. This wasn't coincidence. It was centralized quality control on a scale that defies ancient technology. Someone was watching. Archaeologists discovered stone weights in perfect mathematical progression, each double or half the next. Merchants from Lothal to Harappa used identical systems, enabling trade networks that stretched to Mesopotamia, where Indus seals have been found in Sumerian ruins. At the port city of Lothal, engineers constructed the world's first known dry dock, a massive brick basin with sluice gates to control water levels. Ships from distant lands anchored here, loading cotton, carnelian beads, and mysteries we may never name. How did they coordinate such precision, without writing we can read, without rulers we can name? The absence of answers haunts every excavation. The Indus people achieved the impossible and left no instruction manual behind. 4,000 symbols, countless combinations, and after a century of study by the world's greatest linguists, the Indus script remains utterly undeciphered. It is humanity's oldest unsolved puzzle, a locked door to which we've lost every key. The symbols appear on tiny steatite seals, most smaller than postage stamps. Animals parade across them, elephants, tigers, the mysterious unicorn-like creature that appears more than any other. But what do the accompanying glyphs mean? Names, prayers, warnings? Unlike Egyptian hieroglyphics, there is no Rosetta Stone. Unlike Mesopotamian cuneiform, there are no bilingual inscriptions. The Indus script stands alone, an orphan language with no known relatives, no translation guides, no whispered hints from history. Computer algorithms have tried. Pattern recognition has tried. Crowdsourced decryption has tried. The longest known inscription contains only 17 symbols. We cannot even determine if it reads left to right, or right to left, or neither. Some scholars believe it's not writing at all, merely symbols of clan identity or religious devotion. Others insist it encodes a complete language, holding secrets about governance, belief, and the soul of a vanished people. The debate rages on. If we could read their words, what would they tell us? The names of their gods? The laws of their land? Love letters? Tax records? The silence of the Indus script is deafening. A civilization shouting across millennia in a language we cannot hear. Around 1900 BCE, something broke. The great cities began to empty. Craft production ceased. Trade networks collapsed. Within 2 centuries, a civilization that had thrived for 700 years simply stopped. The question has tormented historians ever since. Why? The first theory points skyward. Geological evidence suggests a mega drought struck the region. 200 years of failing monsoons. Rivers shrank, crops withered. The sophisticated irrigation systems that had fed millions became monuments to a climate that had betrayed them. Recent satellite imagery revealed a devastating truth. The Gagahakra River, the lifeline of eastern Indus settlements, didn't just dry up. It shifted course entirely, abandoning cities that had grown dependent on its waters. An entire civilization left stranded by geology. Then there's the controversial theory, the Aryan invasion. For decades, scholars believed Indo-European warriors swept down from Central Asia, conquering and destroying. Ancient Sanskrit texts speak of fortified cities burned, but the archaeological evidence tells a more complicated story. Modern archaeology finds no evidence of widespread warfare, no burned cities, no mass graves of battle victims. Instead, genetic studies suggest gradual migration and cultural mixing. The invasion may have been slow absorption, not conquest, but transformation. Perhaps there was no single catastrophe. Climate, rivers, disease, economic collapse, each weakening the structure until it could no longer hold. The end may have come, not with a bang, but with a slow, exhausted surrender to forces beyond any civilization's control. In 1947, archaeologist Mortimer Wheeler made a disturbing discovery. Scattered through Mohenjo-Daro's streets lay human skeletons, not in graves, not in homes, but sprawled where they had fallen. Some showed signs of violence. The massacre theory was born. 37 bodies, unburied, some with skull fractures. A city that carefully cremated or buried its dead had left these people to rot in the open. What horror swept through these streets in those final days? What broke the sacred rituals of death? But modern analysis complicates the massacre narrative. The skeletons date to different periods, not a single event, but centuries of occasional deaths. Some may have been epidemic victims, others caught in floods. The massacre may be a myth born from scattered evidence. One skeleton haunts researchers most, a woman clutching a child, found at the bottom of a well. Had she jumped to escape attackers, fled a fire, sought water during drought? Her silence speaks louder than any inscription could. What we know is this: Mohenjo-Daro was never rebuilt. After 4,000 years of continuous occupation, the living simply stopped coming. The greatest city of the ancient world became a graveyard, then a ruin, then a legend, then nothing at all. The dead of Mohenjo-Daro keep their secrets. We photograph their bones, measure their trauma, sequence their DNA. But we cannot ask them the only question that matters: what happened here? The silence of the grave remains unbroken. The Indus people vanished, but their legacy endures in ways we're only beginning to understand. The swastika symbol, the practice of yoga, the veneration of certain animals, the roots of Hinduism itself may reach back to these forgotten streets. The famous priest-king statue, 7 inches of soapstone dignity, wears a shawl still seen in South Asian ceremonies today. The trefoil pattern on his robe appears in temples across India. 5,000 years, and the fashion still walks among us. But time is running out. Rising groundwater threatens Mohenjo-Daro's bricks. Salt crystallization crumbles walls that survived 4 millennia. Climate change, the same force that may have destroyed this civilization, now races to erase its final traces from the Earth. In laboratories worldwide, researchers apply artificial intelligence to those mysterious seals, hoping technology will succeed where human analysis failed. Somewhere in those 400 symbols may lie the key to understanding humanity's first great experiment in urban equality. The Indus Valley civilization asks us an uncomfortable question: can a society that achieves so much still fail completely? Can progress, sophistication, and success simply vanish? Perhaps their greatest lesson is also their most urgent warning. Civilizations are more fragile than they appear.